Welcome back to your channel. My name is Brad, SuperCoach Pro. Today we're doing around 17 SuperCoach team review. So we scored 2,516 points, moved up 100 spots thereabouts, and now into rank 5,775. So yeah, not too bad. And we'll just get stuck in the side. Starting off the back line as usual. Dacos and Bont, I put on a Twitter poll to VC and Cs and what the combinations were. They were the second option that most people voted, and Dacos for every reason. I think he actually wins the Brownlow this year. 139, kicks a couple goals just about every week. In games you sort of don't expect him to do it in, and just an unbelievable scorer. Still can't believe I didn't start with him. I was too worried that his position would be changing a lot this year, and I thought he wouldn't be able to handle it. But he's really proved me wrong, and I'll probably start him next year as well. I can't see him regressing anyway. So, yeah, 139, really good from him. Stewart, 124 against the Roos. Probably didn't expect that against North. Didn't think he'd get enough ball back there, but always takes kick-ins. So that's really good for him. Season average bumped up a little bit now. And then Sinclair, pretty average game for his score anyway. Such a good player though, and him and Dacos both got DPP, so now they could both move to the midfield, which is handy. And I didn't have Sard, so I should probably explain this Sard move in a second. I'll undo my changes. And yeah, Will Day 107, really happy that scored pretty good against the Giants there, and Sheasel 65. Probably one of the players you could get rid of, to be honest, at this point of the season. You're wondering why I'm doing a Sard and Johnson move. I'm just sort of looking at players to bring in as my last trade for Johnson, because Johnson's about to go down in price if he has another bad game, and I wouldn't mind an extra cover down back for 7 rounds to go. So anyway, we loopholed Melkin's score instead of Johnson. I just had a bad feeling last minute that Johnson wouldn't have a great game. I didn't know who'd get subbed off. It's happened a couple of times this year, so disappointing for him. So I had to loophole Malkin in my head, and I thought Johnson, best case scenario, is going to get an extra 20 points, but I thought worst case scenario, he's probably going to lose 30 points, and it was bang on. My prediction was right last minute. Most people on Twitter actually voted to keep Johnson because he actually scores really well at home, generally speaking, but now he's got 2 scores in 30s and 2 scores in the 90s at Optus Stadium. So, yeah, Malkin's sort of saving my weeks. And he's been a really good downgrade target, actually. Apart from that 22 in my side when I actually really needed him, my best 18, he's actually gone not bad. It's only an average of 63, but you take that 21 out of it, it's not bad scores. He's got a couple 80s there, a few 60s and a 50. So, yeah, I'm going to loophole him again this week. Because I'll explain why in a second. But Bontempelli, this is an interesting one. He's a safe captain, but I just don't think he's a VC-worthy option some weeks. Like, he's just got so many 120 games where you sort of just want to take a punt on a 140 bloke like a Neil or a Laird or someone like that. I just don't know if he's probably more your Saturday, Sunday specialist where you know what you're going to get from him as a safe bet. But if you go here and you go to scores, like, yeah, he does got 4 over 140, but there's a lot of in-between scores. Like, that's 10 games between 107 and 125 right there. Just really awkward. As Shorty would say, dancing with your sister awkward. So he's more of a captaincy option, basically, is what I'm saying with him. And Merritt just goes nuts. Like, this guy's killing it week in and week out. I feel like he's actually the most reliable captain choice in my side. I haven't worked out what I'm going to do with loopholing either. We'll get that to at the end of the video, I suppose. I took the VC on Neil. Played really well, I thought, without Dunkley. And just shows 142. This was a great trade-off, bringing Neil and Brayshaw in for Zeeble. That was a turning corners moment. Zeeble starts as sub, comes on. Or actually, he actually got a late change, actually. He only scored 59 this week. So I used that Zeeble money to grab Brayshaw, Neil, and Marek, I think, all in the same week or two, and it just really paid off in hindsight. And yeah, there's things I haven't done so well either, but Laird's one of them. I could never captain Laird at the right time. He's given me, a 53 for a score as a captain, and double that, and now an 80 score the week before. So Laird's sort of killing my captaincy. And I just don't feel the need to put any more risk on him. I just can't trust him. He's inconsistent for whatever reason. I'm not sure if he's carrying something, but just really frustrating pick. And then Brayshaw, this is kind of what I expected, but at least he's scoring that 107 range, which is fine for me. And you're probably wondering why I was talking about Trac in my video. Should have went with my gut instinct, but I had an option. And again, I use Twitter a fair bit with some opinions because there's some fantastic blokes out there, some crazy minds that do this a lot better than what I do, to be honest, and they're just insanely good. And the option was to go Trac and leave myself 40 grand, or go Sarong and leave myself 124 grand. Now you're wondering, well, what's the point of having all that money? Well, I really want to turn Johnson into a M9, like a Callum Mills or a Sard, as you saw back there in the back line, just as a spare player. So that's the only reason why I took the 124K, because these week or two injuries, like we're seeing Sarong, if he doesn't get off tonight, I might want to take a punt and bring in a bloke that can fill a week and have 24 primos, so to speak, and not worry about these 1 to 2 week injuries and fielding a Melican per se looping. So it makes it difficult. I don't really want to go down the one trade. Like if I bought in Sard for Johnson and then Stewart goes down, I could have went Stewart to not Sinclair, Sicily. So that's my big dilemma, is you want to hold on to those trades because you want to get the best of the best if you do get a big weak injury that you need to pull the trigger. But I think everyone's down between 1 and 5 trades now. So, and it's mainly, it's not like I'm carrying pods at this stage season where, if one goes down, my whole team's stuff because it's a pod. So it's not a bad way of looking at your side. If you're down to no trades, you probably don't want to bring pods in because they can hurt you if they're not playing. So, and then Green got attention from Nash, 73. And, I think I already spoke about Day. Just, really solid week for him this week. You never know what you're going to get with his disposal efficiency. And, I don't know how I feel about the pick. I think I'll review it at the end of the season, but hasn't been good so far, if I'm honest. Dunkley, does he come back this week? Haven't heard any news on Twitter or nothing like that, or AFL news and whatnot. So I'm going to have a bad feeling he's going to miss a couple more, to be honest. And Roberts played VFL, actually, had 15 touches. So good for any Roberts holders. Expecting cover, he might come back into that Sydney squad because Sydney looked atrocious. See what happens there. Marshall Briggs, pretty solid from both. Briggs had a hot start, then did nothing for the last half, and then had a good last 10 minutes of that final quarter. So he was on like 70 or 80 at half time, and I thought, man, he's going 150. Just, I don't know what happened, to be honest. Just didn't see him. Spent a lot of time on the bench as well. And he's probably a ruckman, though, actually start next year, and he's been a win too. I bought in a primo for 250K and used the other cash off English, but I probably should have flicked Marshall instead of English. So it is what it is with that move. And then I've got Cameron for cover. Scores an 80. Not the greatest F6, and it was for cover purposes, but I just feel like I'm getting ripped off this pick. He shows so much potential, but he's had a couple tough matchups now, so maybe he gets a better run. Maybe he's not a great ruckman against, other really premium ruckmen in the competition, whether it be around the ground or tap ruckman. But, the last 2 scores have been a little bit disappointing for him, in my opinion. And then Goulden 143. I sort of saw that coming in the Richmond game. I thought, Tigers don't tag, but I looked at his history against us and I wasn't impressed. So I missed that one, but lucky I had Neil because he scored just 1 point less, which wouldn't have mattered. And Taranto 84 again. Maybe he's starting to feel the effects of playing full-time mid. We know at the Giants, especially last season, he played a lot forward. So maybe he's finally catching up to him. He does have West Coast this week, though, so should bounce back, I reckon. And 95 from Rosie, he's generally a pretty good player. So nothing to speak about there. And Keys worrying. At least he's kicking goals, so the 82 is probably what he averages if he plays forward, but I just don't think they can play him forward where the Crows are at this point in the season. I think they need to play him back in the guts, clearly, and hopefully that role changes. But that's why we've got these players in there, like a Jeremy Cameron for a free swing at it and whatnot. And Cogs 119 finally pulled his finger out and did something, and the bench is whatever. So hopefully we get Cameron back. Hopefully we get Dunkley back. It's a bit hard doing a review because I can't really speak about players that my side is going to be taking into the next week because I don't even know about Strong's 1 week challenge either. So early stages, probably just going to loop Melican again, see how we go. And hopefully I don't have to field any spuds there, but depth's pretty good. I mean, I've got Cameron on bench, I've got Dunkley on bench at the moment, and hopefully this Thursday night game, Melican can go 100, so it doesn't matter about my trade, and I can hang on to it for 1 more week at least. But regardless, we'll flick that trade off in round 20 anyway and just take a punt. So yeah, that's the video. If you got any trade plans, chuck them in the comments. I thought I was meant to be doing live streams with Steve from SDS, so I'll have to message him and find out what's happening because I've seen he's doing hot topics and whatnot instead. I thought we were doing live streams. So I'll have to, shoot him a message and see what's going on. So anyway, if you guys got any trade plans, captain, vice captain, whatever, chuck them in the comments or reply there. Enjoy your night. I'll catch you on the preview probably tomorrow or Thursday. So there we go because it is a Thursday game, remember, guys. So catch you.